So tell me about this tour that you're on right now.
It's called Nos Amis, which is French for our friends, and it's just full tilt boogie rock and roll, and that's all we're gonna do, because that's what we do. You know what I mean? And you can't let anyone, especially bad guys, dictate the terms of your decisions. Just the facts, and the facts are: girls are still beautiful, rock and roll is still amazing, and let's just shake our dicks and have a good time, or stay horny. That's. I mean, it sounds corny, but that's the method by which I have gotten through this. Is I stay horny.
Talking about the bad guys, can you describe to me what it was like watching what was happening at Bataclan?
The Bataclan was probably the single worst thing that you could ever imagine seeing. Watching your friends die or getting killed, and you have to hide and you can't do anything about it. I can't imagine that I'll ever encounter anything worse than that in my whole life. And I hope I never do. But I got through it, and I feel like I was elected by circumstance to be the representative of all the voices that can't speak anymore, maybe. And I take that as a holy duty, as a sacred duty. And I don't know how this will sound, but I'm grateful that I get to be the one, in a weird way. It's a terrible, terrible duty. But that doesn't make it any less necessary, you know. And if I just stay horny, everything will be fine.
How was it like seeing your fans getting killed in front of your eyes?
I, I think it would be incorrect to refer to them as merely my fans, because they're my friends. And I I don't even know if I could describe to you how it feels, because there's no frame of reference for it. I wish it had never happened, but that doesn't change anything. And there's an old phrase: "There's no use crying over spilt milk," and I don't believe that that's necessarily true. I believe you mourn the ones you lost, and you have an obligation to pick up and lead out of the abyss. And I'm just not willing to suffer my friends to have any more moments of a bad feeling. This is, we're just coming back, and I don't really know where we're going to end up. You know what I mean? This is all uncharted territory. And that being said, I'm trying to really get as far from that feeling as I possibly can get, so that I don't see things when I wake up in the morning anymore, which I would prefer not to. But again, I can't do anything about that.
What do you see when you wake up?
I see 4 or 5. There's 5 faces that I see. 5 friends of mine in particular that I can't unsee. And there's smells that I can't describe to you that are unholy. And sounds. People make really weird sounds at the end, But I think those people have earned the right to be remembered for how beautifully they lived and how well they went out. And I don't think any of the uglier parts, I think they've earned the right to avoid those. You know what I mean? I also see beautiful things, though. I'm able to have my heart strengthened, and I'm able to take great courage from knowing that I saw the bravest people I've ever seen in my life throwing themselves in front of bullets and pushing people out of the way and yelling for people to run, and even standing up and cussing into the face of these pieces of shit, knowing that it would end their life, but they had to have that last word. That is a bravery that is incomparable. It's one thing to charge into a face of certain death with a firearm. It's another thing to charge into certain death with nothing but a ticket to a rock show. And I think I'm very fortunate and lucky to have been amongst a group of such noble people. That's how I see it.
How do you think this will affect you and your music?
It'll only make me work harder. Again, I don't have it in me to let the bad guys win. Not for a fucking minute. And I'm not going to. I may be sad. I may wear my heart on my sleeve. But I do that for the people that I love, the people that were there. I promise you that the next we're still on a new record, and even this album has got a dick bigger than John Holmes. The next album will have an even bigger dick, I promise you, and we'll shake it even harder. You know what I mean? Life is a lot better with titties, 2 of them, in fact, and that's just kind of my mantra. And I feel like those corny, lighthearted elements are precisely what's required for the situation. You have to stay light. You have to keep your heart light. And if you have heaviness on it, you have to get it out. You know? You have to. So I'm not going to let the bad guys win, I promise you. And because we have all of the rock and roll community surrounding us, there's no way anybody can hurt us.
Are you writing music about what happened at Bataclan?
I started writing the music immediately so that I could put it in a place and let it stay there. Because I'm not going to let that shit get into Eagles of Death Metal. I'm not going to let it for a second rear its ugly head. The only manner in which you will see the hand of this is how the intensity of the radness that's going to come out of it. I mean, I like to steal from the greatest in the world, so technically I always write the greatest rock albums the world has ever known. I promise you I will steal from only the best ever for this next album. So you will get an even greater rock and roll album ever made. I don't even know if the diction makes sense, but I think it's perfect.
Last question. I just need to ask you because I thought that story was so strong. You met one of the killers. Can you tell me how it happened?
We probably met several of them without realizing it because they were in the theater the whole day. I don't know if anyone knows that, but they were there the whole day. And Tuesday actually filmed one of them on her Periscope. She was Periscoping, and I mean, and this is incredible too, because she's Periscoping and this dude keeps walking in and out of the frame. And have you ever seen Periscope? You know how the comments come up live? Well, the comments were, "Who's that dude? He looks out of place." And then when we were waiting at the door that walks you onto the stage, there were 2 dudes standing about as far away from me as this gentleman that the people in TV land can't see, but about that far away. And Sean London, our sound man, and I, we both looked at him and went, they don't look like they want to be at an Eagles of Death Metal show. I mean, we just noticed they seem pretty grim, you know. And because there's no possible fucking way to know what's coming, it just seemed like it was some out-of-place dudes. And there's a million things that can go through your head in retrospect. you wish you could have done this, if only this could have happened. And I recommend, if anyone who was there is listening, please don't do that. Don't do that, because you'll just beat yourself up. There's nothing you can do. That being said, I wish we had had a heads up to know. Ignorance is bliss, and the good Lord works in mysterious ways, and we can't possibly understand what his plan is. And God is great and almighty, and therefore he will appear to be terrible to us. But I take great comfort in knowing that his hands hold the whole big blue ball up, because I really believe that the thing that cannot be understood, I'm not going to waste a second of my life trying to understand it. I'm not going to try to understand why evil people do what they do. I really don't give a fuck. I really don't care. I don't give a rat's ass. I only care about how to neutralize them and destroy them and wipe them off the face of the earth, and make sure that it's a clean slate for everyone who wants to do what's right.
And what about your encounter with the killer? You were close to being killed yourself.
Yeah, but my mother is probably the greatest woman that ever lived. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady, and she raised me very well. And I've never been the person who would ever sit back and say, why me, God? My attitude is, why not me? You know, and if the worst thing that happened to me is that I almost got killed, that's okay.
But can you tell me how it happened?
Yeah, I walked into a hallway looking for my girlfriend, and he was at the other end of the hallway with his back to me. And I opened the door, and I was running in a panic because I was trying to find Tuesday. I wasn't really thinking like I could die. I wasn't thinking. I just wanted the taste of copper pennies to leave my mouth, and I wanted to find Tuesday. And he was about maybe 6 meters away from me. And I was trying to tiptoe back without him hearing me to get out the door, and he noticed me, and he turned around, and he went to bring that gun down, and the barrel of the gun hit the door frame. Pop! Right as I hit the door, and I was able to escape. And he still shot at me, you know, and the bullets hit the door instead of me. And then I actually got down into the doorway to leave into the alleyway, and I hadn't found Tuesday yet, and I was too scared to go back inside. But I couldn't leave, and I didn't know what to do. And I'm standing in this doorway with certain death behind me and freedom in front of me, and my drummer Julian ran past me out into the alleyway, and Tuesday was hiding between 2 cars, and she stood up and she said, Julian. And there's never been a sweeter sounding voice that you can imagine. And instead of moving forward, though, I kind of relaxed and stood in the hallway, and 2 girls were trying to escape, and they walked around me as the shooter who was in the hallway came to the top of the hallway, and this girl's head just exploded and blew me into the door, put pieces of her teeth in, and her skull, you know, into my face. And my guitar tech, Eden, grabbed me by the chest and pulled me forward as the bullets. And then we were out. You know, nobody escaped anything there. But we weren't supposed to. God has a plan, and it's important that we understand that, and that we try not to understand what can't be understood, because we'll go crazy. And we take it as an honor that we were elected to be there, to be the ones who get to tell their story, because that is a sacred honor, and it will help to carry you through this.
Bataclan is reopening now, and you're playing in Paris. Why is it so important to take back Bataclan, take back Paris?
Why was it so important for the Allies to take back Paris in the first place? You know what I mean? Nazis of any sort can't win, and they especially can't attack our Paris. You know, France is an interesting place, and it's got interesting attitudes for sure. but they're our brothers and sisters. And that country, France, has looked out for us and delivered to us some of the greatest and most important new friends I'll ever make and meet. Great protectors. And now I'm of a weird mind. I mean, I walk around now, I have security. I've never had that before. But I don't think I will ever step 1 foot into the rock arena without my French security, without my new friends. I trust in my friends, and you have got to reclaim what the bad guys take. You don't let anyone kick you out of your home, ever. It's not even conceivable to me that it could be a possibility, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that there's not even a wedge of doubt in there. That doesn't mean it's not terrifying, but that's not the factor that I got to choose. So I just have to deal with the cards that I was dealt. And I'll do it, and I'll still win. I'll have the winning poker hand, and if I don't have it, I will bluff my way out of that shit.